Shasky, man, what a night. What a night.
It was actually a great night of sports.
It was.
Obviously, the Giants are the only team that I'm rooting for regarding some of the other matchups that were out there. But no, it was great. I was watching Strider. He had a perfect game going for a minute.
Nasty.
Yeah, so, I was flipping back and forth, and it was awesome. Watching the Bucks game, and I'm thinking, man, Bonte's kind of been all over this Bucks team, with his eyes on them for quite some time, and seeing them go up against Miami and seeing Jimmy Butler do what he did, and it was like, man, they're in a very different spot than I thought they'd be in a week ago.
Well, they could have a very tumultuous offseason if they don't get things done.
Right?
They don't right this ship. They at least have to get to the conference finals, and I don't think they match up well with Boston. I don't think they match up well with Philadelphia. Drew Holiday's a good player, a very good player. Middleton, that knee injury that he suffered in which he missed the second round against Boston last year, he just not look like the same player. He doesn't look like the All-Star, the All-NBA player. Brook Lopez is fine. He dropped 36 yesterday. He was fine. But they got a very older roster. Bud's been there for a while.
He always looks confused.
He does look he looked confused in the last 3 minutes.
Is that just me?
You're up 11, and you don't call a timeout to slow things down. Charles Barkley was all over it on Inside the NBA, saying, "What are you doing? Stop the game. It gets to 6. You have to win that game. You can't go down 3-1. They can still win the series. I could see them winning 3 in a row against Miami with 2 home games and 1 on the road. It's going to be very difficult, but they can do it. I don't think that series is over by any stretch of the imagination, but Giannis has won 1 title there. It's a small market. They're kind of like Sacramento in a sense to where they're not going to attract big-name free agents there. They're just not.
Isn't that surprising? Because Giannis feels like a player that you would want to play with. I know the location matters more probably than that, but seeing someone like Giannis, God, you would think other people would want to play with him.
Yeah, you would think, but I remember Dave Dalla. He wanted Giannis to come to Portland. They were recruiting each other. Nobody wants to live in Milwaukee. I've never been to Milwaukee. I want to go. I hear it's a great town.
I've never been.
But it's cold. It's the Midwest. It's 90 minutes north of Chicago. Kind of like the little brother of Chicago in a sense. I don't know. People don't want to go there. So you don't think
we make enough of that, huh? Because you always seem to bring that up when it comes to the NBA. And maybe I underrate it dramatically because I always feel like, not everyone's wired like I have to play on the coast. I have to play in a particular city. Right. I know guys are wired differently, but I do think that the proof is kind of in the pudding. Like how many people are...
It matters.
Hey, they have all the options in the world. I'm choosing to play in Cleveland.
Right.
I'm choosing to play in Milwaukee.
Right. They're not.
It's a good point.
They're not. They'd rather go to New York. They'd rather go to D.C. They'd rather go to Miami, Atlanta, Houston.
Yeah. Warm weather areas or coastal areas.
Wait till Vegas gets a team. You don't think guys are going to want to play in Vegas?
I think Vegas will be very desirable.
Absolutely.
I think that will be very desirable.
Absolutely. That's why you have the whole new CBA deal and all that stuff. They're trying to make everything even.
Did you read some of the details?
Yeah, it's
going to be very punitive to the
Warriors and the Clippers.
Year 1, they're kind of screwed.
Yep.
Year 2, they're going to have to make some really difficult decisions. We'll get to it when we need to. But I was reading that Athletic article, and I'm thinking to myself, boy, they're really out to get the dubs.
And these small market teams, these small market owners just basically sticking to double birds at Joe Lacob and Steve Ballmer said, you guys are spending too much. You guys are spending too much. Kind of like how you see Steve Cohen in baseball.
Yeah.
But again, we'll get to that conversation a little later.
They hate Steve Cohen. Meanwhile, the people that everyone's writing a welfare check for, we're giving him a red carpet to go to Vegas.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, you
know
don't
what?
even start me.
That deal may not be done yet.
Well, did you hear what Manfred said yesterday?
What did he say yesterday?
He's basically saying that we're going to make this happen.
Oh, he's going to just strong arm it and make it happen?
Yeah, Manfred, it was basically, they've given up on Oakland.
Well, the state of Nevada might not be so willing to give them that much money.
Well, that is an
element.
element.
You heard Mark Davis, too.
That is an element. Well,
Mark Davis came out. You know what, though? I feel him, though.
Because they sat on that site for so long.
They sat on that site for so long and screwed the Raiders. They screwed the Raiders. Now, who knows? Is there a guarantee the Raiders get a stadium and stay? I have no idea. No idea. That ship is sailed. But Mark Davis, I'm glad he came out and said, you know what? It's going to be hard for me to work with the A's. I'm going to come out in front of this and say John Fisher's a scumbag.
Well,
that organization is a scumbag.
They are.
That management team is a scumbag. And nothing will change if that management team comes to Nevada. So
I guess just reading I don't know how. Sorry, I didn't mean to sidetrack us into this Manfred conversation, but like reading the tea leaves on the Manfred, he sat down with a bunch of different writers and he did radio hits and whatnot. And basically, his thing was like, look, Oakland's not sustainable for them. As in, the Bay Area market's not sustainable for the two teams. It's of the markets with two teams, this is the smallest by far. And when he was citing some of the attendance records, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, he said there was always that never at any given time were both attendance numbers for the Giants and the A's simultaneously healthy. One was always a quote-unquote top dog, and the other one was a bottom feeder. And so we can argue whether that's even true or not. Like, I don't even know. It's just, it feels like to me, the league is pushing this. And the reason why, and everyone's going to say, well, they could get an expansion fee. They know that they have Nashville, Portland, Montreal, Utah. They've got like six different cities right now that are willing to pony up $2-3 billion expansion fees to get these new teams. So they want to be in the Vegas market.
Yeah. Well,
all four teams, four sports want to be there.
Well, they do want to be there. And the A's just want to get a welfare check.
100%. And it sucks that they're getting a parachute.
They want to get a handout.
It feels like the league's helping them.
I just can't believe that John Fisher refuses to come out and speak.
Well,
hiding behind
really
the door.
Surprised?
What a joke. Yeah, I am. He can't come out one time and speak to his A's fans. Not once. To say, hey, guys, this is why I'm doing this. Said you got Dave Cavill, the carnival barker, out here just left and right, yelling everything, doing every interview. Just, I always thought Dave Johnson on YouTube, Portland. I always thought Portland was a design. Actually, wrote an article for the Examiner. It's like why Portland could be that. Andy Dolich also wrote something about that as well. I thought Portland would be a great market just to be in the Pacific Northwest. They would love that team.
A natural rival to Seattle.
You get a 35,000 seat stadium.
Big baseball hotbed. If you think about Oregon and Oregon State, it's always been two very good programs for a long, long time. They have minor league baseball that thrives.
Oregon's only had a baseball team for like 10 to 15 years.
Well, that's the Ducks. I'm saying
Ducks,
Oregon State has had a long...
Beavers have been really good.
Yeah, they have a long history.
Jacoby Ellsbury, national championships.
Flexing that muscle. But like they've been a minor league location. There was actually a Netflix doc about Portland supporting a major minor league baseball team. You should check it out. It's pretty good.
I also, the whole Bay Area two-team thing, I believe it could work. I do believe it. I think it has worked. I mean, early 2000s, you were getting about $5.5 million, 5.5 million fans through the turnstiles.
If you win, both stadiums.
Yeah, both stadiums.
Yeah.
If you win, they will come. I believe the Bay Area can support two baseball teams. I truly do.
You don't think our spending patterns have changed?
I think if you win, they will come. No matter what. If you win, they will come.
Okay. If
the A's were good, they will come.
So at no point have both been in the top 15 in attendance simultaneously. So it's just really difficult.
Win. You sure the early 2000s?
That's what Manfred was citing
I'm going to look at the other 2000s.
Yeah, he was saying that basically at no point were both in the top 15 simultaneously. And that's just what he said in his argument. And I was like, interesting. They said when the Giants moved here in the 60s, they were one of the biggest draws. Then the A's moved in the 70s. They became the big draw. And then the Giants were in the bottom for attendance and whatnot. So... Again, I don't know. And then the other thing I don't understand is like they're saying, oh, well, it's a television market simultaneously, not just a location market. Don't the Arizona Diamondbacks kind of get some of that Vegas television?
They do. LA gets some of that Vegas television.
Do they do? Well, and even LA, SoCal's so congested. Right. You've got the Padres, the Angels, and the Dodgers.
So I'm looking at the A's attendance here. They don't even. Oh, here it is, right here. I'm looking. All right, so early 2000s, the high water mark for the Oakland A's. 2004, they got 2.2 million fans there. Conversely, the Giants, 3.2 million. That's 5.4 million for the turnstiles. That's a lot. Now, you got to think when Oracle Park opened, 3.3, 3.3, 3.2, 3.2. The A's are still get 2.1, 2.1, 2.2, 2.2, 2.1. I mean, that was early 2000s. Now, yeah, sure, spending habits have changed, no doubt about that. But when you win and when you don't gut the team over and over and over, you will get fans that come. You will get fans. I forget what Manfred said and the rankings or whatnot. I'm just looking at $5 to $6 million. $5 to $6 million, because I'm eager to see what the Mets were drawing when the Yankees were so good.
Well, they've got more people to draw from too, though. That's another more important thing. And yeah, I agree. The Mets aren't. They're not. They haven't been on the same par as the Yankees.
Look at the Mets. 94, 1.1 million, 1.2 million, 1.5, 1.7. Then they got good late.
When did Citi Field
1990s. Citi Field opened about 10. I want to say about 10 years ago.
Because I would look at that, because Shea Stadium at the end, it was a dump.
It was a dump, but they had really good teams.
And they spent a lot of money on their team. I just look at it this way,
All right, Citi Field, 2.5, 2.7, 2.4, 2.2, 2.4.
So they've done pretty
2.1,
well.
2.1, 2.2. It's been all right.
You know, I just look at it like the Bay Area cost of living has gone up so dramatically, and you look at how much you have to make to be able to even live here. We have the least amount of extra income of anywhere else not named New York in the entire country. And so I think that the amount of entertainment dollars that they had, even just 10 or 15 years ago, is significantly less. I mean, the cost of living and the cost of groceries. I mean, you go to the grocery store, it's through the roof right now. And so, I don't know. Maybe I'm on an island here and I'm wrong and you're right. Listening to him, I don't love Manfred, but I get where he's coming from, saying, like, it's very difficult to make it work in this market.
It's not about being right or wrong. It's about not buying the excuses from the commissioner of baseball.
That's
what that is. You want to throw some numbers at us with attendance? Look at the Chicago White Sox. Shout out to YouTube or the Comcast Business Text line who just tipped me on this one. 925. What about the White Sox? How do they draw compared to the Cubs? Well, look at the White Sox here.
Oh, I bet they're low. I bet 94. They're way low.
I'm going to just read something.
When was the last time they were, like, really good? 2005? When they won the World Series?
1.6, 1.6, 1.6, 1.8, 1.3, 1.3, 1.9, 1.7. So then in 2005, they won a World Series. They got $2.3 million.
In the year they win a World Series.
Then 2.9, 2.6, 2.5, 2.2, 2.1, 2,000, 2 million. Then 1.9, 1.7, 1.6, 1.7, 1.7, 1.6, 1.6, 1.6, 1.5. So I don't want to buy this stuff from Rob Manfred that, the Bay Area's never been ranked 15. That is a slap in the face to every Oakland A fan out there, to every East Bay fan out there, and that's insulting the intelligence of the Bay Area fan. Well, if you get over 5 million, say you get 2.5 in both stadiums, or just 5 million total of baseball fans in a two-team market, that's a win to me. That's a win.
Yeah, I just don't know if that exists in the current climate.
I think if you win, they will come. If you had a good stadium in the East Bay, and all those fans will come there for, say, it's a 35,000 seat stadium.
I agree with that. But what I'm saying is I think the people that would be going to Giants games would say, I'm not going to Giants games anymore, and would take their dollars and go to the A's games. I mean, last night, did you look at the stadium for the Giants?
But the Giants aren't good.
Agreed.
The Giants aren't winning.
I agree there.
They have no marketable players.
It's really difficult for both teams to be good simultaneously.
Right. Well, they were, though.
I know. But the way that business works is you have to be able to have business plans for good and bad times.
See, these teams were both rolling in the early 2000s. They had a great stretch of winning. 89 A's win the World Series. Giants win. They go to the World Series. Early 90s, Giants started getting good. They started getting more numbers, started getting more attendance figures. Both teams got to handle their own business, all right? Both teams don't work together.
Yeah, but
you know what I mean?
But this is the problem, is that Rob Manfred he's already made his decision. Like, he's sided with Larry Bear and the Giants and the rest of Major League Baseball, and that they're like, we're sick of the A's getting a revenue sharing check, and we want to give the Giants the entire territory, which is insane to me. Right. But they're going to give them the entire territory.
Well, see, I get all that. I get all that. He sided, but that's a slap in the face of the A's fans. Don't give me this excuse that this market can't support two teams. Don't give me the excuse that say, well, they've never been in the top 15. When I just cited the White Sox numbers and the New York Mets numbers in cities that have a higher population than the Bay Area.
Significantly higher.
Chicago's huge.
Yeah.
I went out to a White Sox game. Nobody was there. I might as well have been at the Oakland Coliseum. Mets game. When I went out there, I went to a Giants-Mets game. No joke. Was it 2014? Maybe it was 2014. There was nobody at Citi Field. So this whole thing that, hey, that market can't, if they made their minds up, I get it. You don't get a stadium in Oakland, California.
No,
but don't give me this thing that if you didn't have a stadium, the rich history of Oakland, California, the players that have come out of Oakland, California, they got a richer history in baseball than I think the city of San Francisco. You think about all the players that have come out of Oakland. You can make the argument that their players are
Dave Stewart, Ricky Henderson. I mean, go right down the list. I mean, they have some of the greatest players who have ever lived. Brooks Robinson, Bonte. No, there's no doubt about it. But it's not just the attendance. There's also the television contract portion of it as well, where you have to have X amount of eyeballs. And so I think the way that they're doing the math right now is they're like, okay, if we go to Vegas, we can get a contract deal for television that's going to be exponentially larger than being the second, third fodder on the local broadcast here. Like,
but here's the deal. Here's the deal, though. Yeah. All that stuff
agree
matters.
With you. I think there's more to this than.
But of course, nobody's going to watch out here.
What's that?
Nobody's going to watch out here when the owner.
They did it. Yeah,
in his house.
I don't knock.
He hides in his house, and you gut the team, and you raise prices, and you do Spinoni. Like I'm watching his A's team. I'm telling you, I got the system. Team totals against the Oakland A's. Hits for the third straight game.
Did you see how they lost?
Yeah,
Spinoni showed it to me this morning. The Angels, I mean.
Yeah, no doubt.
Unbelievable.
Oh, it's sad. It's sad. So Rob Manfred, look, he's done a lot of. I think he's done a lot of good for baseball over the last 2 years.
Changes have been great.
But this thing about the Oakland A's, it's a middle finger to Spinoni. It's a middle finger to every A's fan that I know in the city of Oakland.
But you know why they're trying to expedite this? There's two reasons. Number one, January 15th, 2024 is the end date where if the A's don't have a specific thing inked in writing about where their stadium is going to be, they lose the revenue sharing. So they lose their welfare check.
Right.
So that's why it needs to happen immediately. Right. Number two, Manfred wants in the next 2 years to be able to expand 2 more locations. And so he's saying, I'll get $5 billion combined for these 2 expansion teams that we can spread out amongst everyone else in the league. And then we'll have a balanced, quote unquote, schedule. And we'll be able to rework all these divisions and reset it up. So right now they're at 30 teams. They want to be at 32. And I know most people say, well, expand into Vegas. Right. Well, they're sitting here saying we could do that with Memphis or, somewhere in Tennessee.
Portland.
We could do that in Portland.
They
we could do that
in Montreal
Utah.
For some reason.
I don't know why Montreal when it's already failed one time. Right. But like that's I'm not saying that it's right. I'm just telling you what his particular mantra is, and it feels like they're fast tracking. Yeah. The rule changes though, Bonte. That baseball game being over in the third quarter of the basketball game was awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome. The rule change did help out.
It's a great rule change. Did you know that right now the success rate on stolen bases is better than Ricky Henderson's best year?
No doubt. No,
that's crazy.
Acuna Jr. stolen bases left and right.
Crazy.
Stolen bases left and right.